ladies and gentlemen, if you have seen my streams for a while, I have been saying for a minute that these folks is going to become so distraught during this Trump administration that they're going to be at their wits' end, that they're not going to know what to do with themselves. They're going to have mental breakdowns. They just going to go through it, okay? And by the time the end of the Trump administration, they won't be coming to us, literally begging us like, what are you guys doing? How have you guys made it like this in this country? We don't know what to do. You understand? Now, I want you to check out what this white gentleman has to say. And he's going to say some legitimate things that's going on, but I want you to just pay attention to how he's viewing things. Let's go ahead and check this out.
We can't keep doing this. Last night I went to the grocery store. 2 bags of groceries, $72. This morning I stopped and filled up my tank, $60. I just put gas in it 2 days ago. I do drive a little bit to work, but no matter what you do, you got nothing. No matter how hard you work, no matter how early you go in, no matter how much you make, you got nothing. At the end of the week, you got nothing. Can't afford a house. Can't afford food. Can't afford utilities. Every time you go to the store, a bag of chips is like $6 or $7. A loaf of bread, $5. Gallon of milk, $5. The only thing that's cheap is a dozen eggs. I've been thinking about living off eggs. Have an egg for breakfast, have a hard-boiled egg for lunch, and have a omelet with no cheese for dinner. It seems like everybody in the world has nothing.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I mean, now let's just keep it a buck with the truth. I mean, yes, he's right. You don't have to buy much at the grocery store, and you're spending, he's right, almost $100. It's literally ridiculous. He's 100% right about that. He's right about the gas prices. He's right about people not being able to get homes. But he's saying that on a personal note. That's why he's angry like that. Because you have to understand, you remember we covered the other gentleman? Well, he was saying that they just told us to work hard and everything will be handed to you. See, that's what it is right there. They were told just to work hard and everything will be handed to them. See, what's happening to them right now, black people, we know, is that they're experiencing that life that we have experienced in this country. And they not liking it. How many times have we couldn't afford groceries? A lot of black people still don't have homes to this day, right? It's not because we don't want them. It's because of their racist policies. A lot of times why we don't have homes. Can't qualify for a home because of their racist policies. Black folks couldn't afford gas a whole lot of times. We know how to make it work. We know how to make our gas stretch. We know how to do it all, right? And we always fare out well. No black people have ever starved. We know how to make $1 out of 15 cents. We always talked about that. We always said that we know how to make lemonade out of lemons because we've always been given the worst of the worst. We've been given the worst economy, the worst food, the worst health care, the worst education. We've been given the worst of it all, while people like that gentleman in that video have been given the best. And now he's starting to experience the life that was given to us here in America. Now we're getting some true equality for a change. And he and his others in his community aren't liking it. There's so many of them crashing out every day on TikTok that they can't afford anything, that they don't want to have children because they can't afford it. A lot of them can't afford to move out their parents' home. They're saying that they're in debt. Life wasn't supposed to be like this for them. They're supposed to be enjoying the summer vacations and all of this, and now they can't afford to even drive down the doggone street. Once again, I will say this. For years, decades even, black Americans have been telling y'all this. But none of you cared about the economy. Nobody cared about the price of food. Nobody cared about the price of gas. Nobody cared about the health care. Nobody cared about daycare. Nobody cared about any of it because you was being treated well and getting preferential treatment while we was getting the worst of the worst. Now the system is so greedy that they say, oh no, we're not going to give them preferential treatment. We want them in the same position as those black folk. And here's the thing, because y'all approve the treatment of black folk with bad food, no jobs, no raises, not proper health care, etc. Because you guys approved of that treatment. That way, when they bring it to you, you can't really say much. You can complain, but you can't say much because you was collaborating with them. We're talking about as a collective, not as individuals, but you collaborated with those in your community, the elites, to harm us. And the whole time they were lacing you up to do the same thing to you. And some of you realize it now, but it's too late because now you in the thick of it now, buddy. So the high gas prices, the high food prices, losing your job, getting fired and laid off, so they can, get more corporate profits. And we talking about big corporations. We're not talking about small mom and pop organizations who may have to run lean and mean. It's just sometimes you have to do that in organizations. We talking about major corporations are letting people go who actually can afford to pay, who really don't need to employ a bunch of AI because they can actually hire people to do it because they make enough money. But these people are so greedy that they will fire a bunch of people just so they don't have to pay benefits. This is where white America is at today. You have been put in the same position as black Americans. And it's not a good feeling being in the bottom, isn't it? It's not a good feeling. There's nothing great about being at the bottom. But we told y'all, and a lot of you was being racist the whole time. That's why nobody would give you sympathy. This is why. Because you was a collaborator. And now that white supremacy turned on you, now you want to cry. Nope. Enjoy your new life. But as black people, we rising up, baby. You don't hear us crying and complaining about a whole lot. Yeah, we may talk about the gas prices, but guess what? Black folks gonna be all right. Black folks gonna eat. We gonna enjoy our life. We gonna take vacations this summer. We gonna do cookouts. Make sure you listen to Meet Me at the Cookout by Soraya, the songstress. That's out now on all streaming platforms. It's a cookout, but we gonna be enjoying ourselves, 100%. We're going to be enjoying ourselves. We're not going to be broke. We're going to thrive. You know why? Because this is a walk in the park for us as black people. White America, you have trained us for such a time as this. You did it. You were not prepared for it, but we are. And we will continue to cover these crash outs by them because, notice nobody telling them pull themselves up by the bootstraps, stop complaining, just go to work some overtime. Notice nobody telling them that. They just letting them talk. And maybe black people, when you see them videos, you start telling them, hell, just pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Don't be a victim. Victimhood is not going to get you anywhere. Hard work, right? That's what they should be told right now, just like we were told. It's time to be petty. Oh, yes, it's time to be petty. Because they did that mess to us for decades. Well, now it's our turn. But anyway, we will continue to cover these stories because, yes, I've been here doing this for a long time and they were telling us what I just said about bootstrapping and working and stop being a victim. You know what I'm saying? And it don't help the situation when somebody tell you that, but they got to figure that mess out the hard way, obviously. But you better figure it out, sir. Figure it out, because it's not about to get no easier no time